Welcome back to the COVID Data Science channel. Today is the evening of October 30th, 2020, Friday evening here in central Ohio. It's overcast and cool out. I'm getting ready to run a weekly update on a report where I basically compare COVID-19 cases and deaths for three different sources. And what you're going to see is, while there's a little difference between the sources, they pretty much all tell the same story. Okay? The three sources, of course, are European Center for Disease Prevention and Control, New York Times, and Johns Hopkins University. So let's just go ahead and run this report and see exactly what's going on here. I think you'll be in for a surprise, but maybe not well, it's a pleasant surprise. I think it remains to be seen until tomorrow. So let's just take a look here. First, a couple summary stats. For the European Center for Disease Prevention and Controls, says we're averaging 31,500 deaths per day. I'm sorry, 31,500 cases per day, and 930 deaths per day. The New York Times says 32,000. So there's a 500 disagreement. This could simply be, a time difference in terms of reporting. But this is still, for our purposes, this is still close enough. 933 deaths. Again, 920, 930, 933 isn't that big of a difference, so we'll keep it where it's at. So now we got finally Johns Hopkins and their average daily cases as 31,032. Or is it 31,832? Okay, but still, they're all within, 500 to 1,000 of each other. Okay? 937 deaths per day. Again, the difference between 929 and 937 isn't enough to really make a difference. So now let's take a look at the cases by date, beginning with the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control. This is the one I use most of the time. You can see, we see the double crown here, what you call a double peak. It looks like we're heading for another peak. That, of course, cases are going up. Right? But if we look at say Johns Hopkins numbers, okay, what you see basically the same statement. That this curve here seems to be a little steeper, but still the numbers are almost identical, right? Okay. Now let's take the New York Times daily numbers, okay? Again, pretty much the same story. Numbers may differ a little bit, but pretty much the same story. I say the three, I would say overall they're within 1,000 of each other, which is nothing considering all the data we have. Now let's look at now let's compare all three together. Now you can see there's a difference right here for some reason or other. That's European Center for Disease Prevention and Control, and there's a difference over here. But the shape, the trend of the numbers is the same. Let's just take a look here. Okay, let's look at deaths by day now. And the main thing again is the trend is our friend. The trend is continuing downward. This is European. This is the main one I use. Here was a single day spike. All right. Single day spike. But of course, you notice when you talk about cases, you say, "Oh, well, we had a new high today. We had a new high today." Yeah, but how come you don't bother to mention that? In actual fact, basically what this boils down to is there's an 80 to 85% decline from this peak up here. But if you're going to look at if you're going to quote the biggest, most cases and the most deaths for a single day, well, you got to do it both ways, right? Look at us it's declined here. Even if we only use the lowest average line, the fitted line, it's still down below here. Now it does appear to be climbing up a little bit. Again, this is European numbers. Again, if we look at the it's sort of interesting. If you look at the Johns Hopkins, there does seem to be a little bit more volatility, okay? But the shape of the data is still the same, and it's showing a slight uptrend here. Now, the people at Washington University say this is going to come clear back up to maybe even bypass these numbers here. My question is why? If nothing changes, if the number of people wearing, if the problem is masks and the number of people wearing masks doesn't change, why should this number this blow up? Okay. Finally, here's the other one. If we take a look here at these three here, okay, now you can see this. Okay, now you can see this. So here's the New York Times. Again, they're basically telling, look, these two here, John Hopkins and this, are actually much closer in terms of volatility, but the shape of the data still remains the same. Now let's compare the three sources here. Okay, again, look how close they are. And notice how there seems to be a difference right here. This could be that you notice the reason these numbers could be off is simply because you got, this is 1026, this is 1025. So if we actually move these forward one date, okay, move these forward one date, and replotted it, they would be almost identical. Let's take a little different way. The blue line is the actual daily numbers. The red line is a 28-day exponential moving average. Nothing really tricky here. You know, it's still showing a trend upward in cases as we expected. Let's try one more thing here. Let's try daily deaths, three sources. Let's do this. Let's do a combine sources. Low as deaths. Okay. So now we're going to do this. Okay, so let's run this again and see what happens. Let's see if we can get the low as function here. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let's come back over and start this again. Basically, I'm going to try to create a low S plot. Okay, let's see if we can get this last report to run here. Okay. Okay. So let's come back here now. Oh, I don't know. So this goes out here. So let's run this again. We're basically taking all three of the smooth curves, the trending line, and plotting them on a single plot. So we can ignore the volatility. Okay. Now we're going to do one more thing here. Okay. We're going to get rid of the confidence. I think they're called confidence signs. Okay. Once again, let's just make sure I got this right. Let's see something here. SC false. Okay. Well, this eliminates the called confidence line. That's the shaded lines you see. Okay. Okay. So let's come back down here now, and now we can see that the trend lines are almost identical. Okay. I'm sorry, the trend lines are almost identical. So that means the data is very, very close. Okay. Once we cut through the volatility, the only difference is right here, really. Let's take a look here. So this is John Hopkins. The red is European Center Disease Control, and the blue is New York Times. Okay. So what this tells me is that the data is across all three sources is within an acceptable error range. Okay. When we cut through the volatility, the data is almost identical for all practical purposes. For the purpose of what we're doing here, for modeling, for prediction, the data is almost identical. Okay. So anyway, hope this is helpful to you, and hope this last report is even interesting to you. I could take one last look down here. You can see that we've got exponential moving average, 28 days. Not really showing anything really radical here. Just the two peaks and a continued climb up. Okay, so that takes care of this three source analysis for the for the COVID-19 data sources I use, which is John Hopkins, European Center for Disease Prevention Control, and the New York Times. The numbers are not identical, but they're close enough, as the old saying goes, close enough for government work. So thanks so much for your time. I hope this has given you a little better understanding of the data and how it's being presented to you. Okay. I'll just say one last thing. This is, so there's no misinformation. The plots, the code I use here is basic plotting. I don't do any tricky math here. There's no smoke. There's no mirrors. The numbers you see here are the real numbers as reported by three different sources. So I want to encourage you, one, of course, to continue to follow my channel, also to go out and look at the data for yourself. Don't let the news media, whether it's Fox News or fake news CNN, tell you what the numbers are, because they all have an agenda. Okay, they all have an agenda. Cut through the agendas, Look at the numbers for yourself and compare, as I did, different sources of numbers. Okay? Thanks so much for your time. We'll catch you on the next report later on this evening sometime. Take care. Bye.